everyone, and welcome back. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, as I think about it. It already feels like it's been a long week, guys. I guess because I've been a little bit under the weather, but everything is fine. Let's go ahead and jump into what we're doing today. We are still looking at area, but we are looking at separating a larger rectangle into two smaller rectangles, finding the area of the two smaller rectangles, and then putting it back together so that we can get the larger rectangle. So that's what we're doing today or this week. The test for this is going to be on Thursday. We also have our mid-unit test that is going to be on Monday, which they'll get their study guide on Friday. And then once they get their study guide on Friday, we are going to, they can use their study guide for the test on Monday. But remember, make sure you are studying how to solve the problem, not the answers, because the questions will be different for the test. It's going to be a different question. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all the announcements that I have for that. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. This is lesson 16 and session 3. This is the homework. It starts on page 351, and we're going to start with number 1. It says Marco breaks the shape into two regular triangles, or to two rectangles, I'm sorry. Outline two rectangles to show Marco's way. So if you look up here at the example, they actually have Marco's way. So they want us to show how Marco broke up this triangle. Let's see, I forgot to put my little pen on. Get that pen on. Okay. So Marco decided to separate his like this. So that means when I draw my line, I'm just going to draw my line going across right here, because this is the way Marco separated his. Okay, so now if I look at this, what I told the kids in class, I like to label, because you know I love a label. So I like to label my rectangles because it lets me know which one is one. So I'll do the top one as A and this bottom one as B. Okay, so this is the two ways that we have to do. That's all you have to do for this problem here. Now, if you want, you could go and finish outlining the outside of it if that makes you more comfortable, so you can see what they are. Or you could just draw that single line in the middle just to break it apart. So if you want to outline it that way, that's fine as well. So number 2 says, write multiplication equations to show the area of each rectangle you outline in problem 1. So they want us to, I'm going to label this as A and this one as B so that I know which equation goes to which problem, to which shape. So what I did in class was, before we started writing equations, I made sure that they went in and they labeled the length and the width. I know it might take a little extra few seconds to do that, or a minute to do that, but I promise you, when you get to that step, once you do that step, it'll make this easier. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So for A, the length would be 1, 2, 3 squares long. So I'm putting 3 as, and this is in inches. Our units are inches, so I'm going to put 3 inches for A. And then the width, well, my width is 1 square wide. So I'm going to go ahead and put this as 1 inch. Okay. Now for rectangle B, it is, the length for this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares long. So this is 5 inches. And then for the width, it is 1, 2 squares wide. So this will be 2 inches. Now we have labeled this. We know our length and our width, because remember, when we multiply to find the area, like they're asking us to do in number 2, we need our length and our width. So now that we have it, we just go ahead and place in our numbers. So if I look at the inches for both of these equations, let's start with A. I have 3 inches times 1 inch, and this gives me 3 square inches. Okay. Now for rectangle B, the length is 5, so 5 inches times the width, which is 2 inches, and this will give me 10 square inches. So now that I have both of my areas, let's go ahead and move on to number 3. So number 3 says write an addition equation to show the total area. So now that we separated it into 2 smaller, A and B, they want us to put it back together to tell them what the whole thing is. So in order to do that, we have to add what we got from A and what we got from B back together to figure out what the whole thing is. So let's do that. So the area for A was 3 square inches. The area for B was 10 square inches. So 3 square inches plus 10 square inches. And when I add those two together, 3 plus 10, that's going to give me 13 square inches. So the area for that shape is 13 square inches. Now, let's look at 4 because 4 ties into what we just did for 1 and through 3. It says Sarah breaks the shape into 2 rectangles in a different way. So same shape, but she decides to break hers a different way. She didn't want to do it the way Marco did it, and that's fine because we all don't think alike, but so we can do things differently. Doesn't mean that the answer is going to be different, but our strategy or our way of doing it may be different. Okay, so it says outline the 2 rectangles to show Sarah's way. Then show how to find the area. So first thing I'm going to do is outline how she can do it. So maybe instead of breaking it going across like Marco did, maybe she went down with it right here. So if she did this, that means her outline would look like this. And now her A rectangle would be here, and her B rectangle would be here. Okay, so now we can go ahead and find the area of both A and B so that we can find the total area. Now we can do it the way that we just did it up here, or we can count the squares. Either way that you prefer. I'm going to do both, okay? So again, finding my length and my width, because you know Miss Newman love a label. So the length for A, it's 1, 2, 3 squares long, and this is still inches, so 3 inches. Okay, then when I go to the width, it's 1, 2, 3 squares wide, so this is 3 inches. Okay, going to B, let's look at how long B is. It's 1, 2 squares long, so 2 inches, and then it is 1, 2 squares wide, 2 inches. So now that I've done both of these, I can go ahead and write the equation. So I'm going to start with A. I'm going to label this as A, and A is going to be 3 inches times 3 inches, and this gives me 9 square inches. Okay, then for B, they gave me, we got 2 inches times 2 inches, and this gives me 4 square inches. So now all I have to do is to get the total, add my 2 together. So I'm going to write total right here and write the 2 areas I got. So I got 9 for A, so 9 square inches, plus for B I got 4 square inches, so plus 4 square inches. If I add 9 plus 4, this gives me 13 square inches. Okay, so now I know the area of hers. Hers is, we can say the area is 13 square inches, and I'm trying to squeeze it all in there, guys. Okay, so basically we can check this by counting our squares. So let's check this. I'm going to start with Sarah. We should get 13 squares because we have our answer, our square. When we did our square inches, we got 13 square inches for our area. So let's count to make sure. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So Sarah's problem is correct. Let's go back to Marco and check his now. We should get 13 as well because that is what we got when we got Marco's total area. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Got 13 again, the same answer. So both of these check out fine. Now, just like I told you, even though we think differently and we may do things differently, even though it is the same problem, we will get the same answer, but we may just do it a little different. We have different strategies. That's the same thing happened with Marco and Sarah. Marco had a different way of doing his problem. He wanted to use a different strategy. He went about it by looking at it this way. Sarah did a different strategy. She went about looking at it this way. But because it is the same shape, we will get the same answer. We just took different roads to get there, if that makes sense. Okay, so that is it for the front of our sheet, numbers 1 through 4. We're gonna go ahead and go to the back of our sheet. So I'm gonna have to erase this and move our screen up. Okay, so this is the back of that sheet, which is page 352. So let's look at number 5. Number 5, it says, shade the rectangle in the shape that is 5 inches long and 2 inches wide. What is the area of this rectangle? So we need to, first of all, put a line through that our outline. Since they said outline in the beginning, we're going to use the word outline. We're going to outline where that is. So if I cut this right here, this would be where this shape would be outlined. Right here. This is the rectangle that will give me a length of 5 inches long and 2 inches wide. Okay, so now that we have that, they want us to find the area. So how do we find the area? That is length times width. So we are going to do 5 inches times 2 inches, and this equals 10 square inches. Okay, and then I'm just circle my answer so you know what my answer is. All right, now number 6. Oh, they told me to shade it in. I didn't shade it in. Let me go ahead and shade it in. Let's see if I can do a highlighter and shade this in. Oh, there we go. All right, so I just shaded that part in. Now, let's go ahead and go to number 6. Let me go back to my pencil. Okay, it says, what is the area of the rectangle that is not shaded? So now we're looking at this little piece right here that is not shaded. They want to know what's the area of this. So they tell us that we have a width of 2 inches and it is 1 inch long because 1 inch is pointing down to this length right here. So let me erase that because I don't want to outline it because they didn't tell us to. So in order to find the area, of course, we're going to do the length times the width, and we have a length of 2 inches times a width of 1 inch, and if we multiply 2 times 1, that is 2, and square unit, or inches. Okay, and I'm going to circle that. All right, so 7 says, what is the total area of that shape? So if I want to know what is the total area of this shape, I would have to take the 2 areas of both of the shaded and the unshaded and add them back together to figure out what this whole shape is, the area. So let's do that. So we're going to do 10 square inches plus 2 square inches, and this will give me a total area of 10 plus 2 is 12, and then square inches. All right. That is it for 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to move to 8. I'm going to have to erase this so I can move my screen up, guys. Okay, so for 8 says draw a line to break shape A into 2 rectangles. So this is shape A. This whole shape is shape A. And they want us to break it up into two rectangles by drawing a line. So it says find the total area. So before we can find the total area, let's go ahead and break it up. So I'm gonna draw it going this way. Okay, so now I have the top of this. I can't use A because they use the whole thing is A. So I'm just gonna use maybe B and C. Okay. So let's find the area of rectangle B, because that's how we're gonna find the total area, is that we have to find the two smaller ones and then we're gonna add those two back together to find the bigger one. So for B, the length of B is 3 meters. So I'm gonna do 3 meters times the width of B. Well, I have an area pointing to 2 meters wide on this side, and then an arrow pointing to 2 meters wide on this side. So that tells me both sides my width is 2 meters, so times 2 meters. Okay, and multiply this. 3 times 2 is going to give me 6, and then the unit is square meters. Okay, so I have B. Let's look at our smaller rectangle of C now. So for C, the length of C is 5 meters. So 5 meters times the width. Well, this is 2 meters wide here, and it's also 2 meters wide on this side. So I'm going to go with the width of 2 meters. Okay, so then we multiply our 5 meters times our 2 meters. Well, 5 times 2 is going to be 10. So I'm going to go ahead and put 10, and then the unit is square meters. All right, so we have found our two smaller rectangles. Now we're gonna put it back together so we can find the area of that total shape. So I'm gonna write total, and I'm gonna add my 6 square meters plus my 10 square meters. And then this is gonna give me a total area of 16 square meters. So the area is 16 square, the total area is 16 square meters. Okay, that is number 8. Let's go to 9. Well, if you look at 9 looks just like 8, right? It is, they're the same. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna ask us to do it a different way. So let's see what they're saying. So it says draw lines to break shape B into 3 rectangles and find the total area. So for 8, they wanted us to do it into 2. For 9, they're going to do it into 3. So that's no problem. We can draw a line going here, down. And we can draw one here. Now we have our 3. And then, so it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and label, because I like to keep my information organized with labels. So I'm gonna label this as, they have B, so I don't wanna use B. Let's do C for this one, D for this one, and E for this one. All right, so let's go ahead, because now it says then find the total area. So in order to find the total area, we have to find the area of rectangle C, D, and E. Once we find those 3, we can put them back together by adding them, and then figure out what that whole area is of that shape. Now, hint, when we do that, we should get the same answer that we got for 8, because it's the same shape. We just broke it up differently. Just like I said, we may do different roads, but we should get to the same destination, which is the same area. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. And I'm gonna start with C. Okay, so for C, I have a length of 1, because the 1 meter is pointing down to my length. So this is 1 meter times the width, it is 2 meters wide. So 1 meter times 2 meters gives me, 2 square meters, okay? We have C. Let's go to D. So for D, I have a length for D, it is 3 meters. So you're like, well, Ms. Newman, there's a 5, excuse me guys, I have to sneeze. Been a little bit under the weather. So, this is, you said, Ms. Newman, there's a 5 there too. We wouldn't use 5 because our 5 goes past where our D is. It goes all the way to C and E. So we want to go to where the number is just for D, and that's 3. So that's why you wouldn't use 5. So I'm going to use 3 meters times, and then let's look at how wide it is. So now, this is going to be a little bit tricky, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you look at this is 2 meters just for this piece, and then 2 meters for this piece. Well, both of these lines are connected together here. So we would have to add the 2 meters and the 2 meters. So this will be 2 meters plus 2 meters, and this will give us a total of 4 meters. So this whole width right here is actually 4 meters long. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky right there. So I'm gonna put times 4 meters. So then we have 3 meters times 4 meters. This will give us 12 square meters. So I just found D, and let's go to E. Well, guess what? E looks just like C, right? It is. They're the same. So basically, the equation should be the exact same. The area should be the exact same. So again, we have a length that is going to be 1 meter and a width that is 2 meters long, just like we had in C. So I'm going to do 1 meter times 2 meters, and this will give us 2 square meters. All right, now we have all 3. Let's go ahead and add them together to get the total, and I am anticipating that we get the same answer that we have in A. So let's go ahead and add it. So we have our 2 square meters for C, plus our 12 square meters for D, plus our 2 square meters for E. Now when I add that together, 2 plus 12 is 14, and then 14 plus that 2 is 16, so I get an answer of 16 square meters. And when I go back and I look at 8, that is the same answer we got, so that just makes me so glad because we got the same answer. That means our problem is correct, but we just did it different strategies. This one we broke it into 2 rectangles, this one we broke it into 3, but because it's still the same shape, we're still gonna get the same area. All right, so that is it for 8 and 9. I am going to have to erase this and go to 10, which is the final problem. So 10 says, draw lines to show 2 different ways to break this shape into rectangles. Then find the total area. So we can draw lines here. If I draw a line here, then this is a A and this is a B. And then we can find the area of A and B. So let's do A. So A, the length for A is 3 feet times the width of A, well that is 5 feet. I wouldn't use 8 feet because 8 feet goes past A into B. So I want to use the one that stops where A stops. So I would use 5 feet. Okay, so then we multiply 3 times 5. This is going to give us 15, and the unit is square feet. Right, so that's A. Let's go to B. So for B, I have a length that is 8 feet long times the width, which is 3 feet wide. So then we do 8 times 3, this is 24, and the unit is square feet. So now we have to, we separated them into A and a B. We have to put them back together to get the area of the total one of all of this together. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna put total. Okay, and if I add this together, it's going to be 15 square feet plus 24 square feet. Okay, and this, if I add 15 plus 24, that is going to give me 39. So this will be 39 square feet. So the area is 39 square feet. Now, this is one way to break it up. They asked us to do it in 2 different ways. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it in 2 different ways. So I'm going to erase my letter and I'm going to erase the line. Okay. Now, I'm going to break it up going this way. Did I put it back on? Okay. This way. All right. There we go. So now this is A and this is B. So, well, let's use different letters, guys. I don't want to confuse you with the lettering. So I'm going to do C and D. We're going to say this is C and this is D. So let's find the area for C. So for C, the length is 3 feet times the width. If you look at this, it goes all the way down to 8 feet wide. So when I multiply my 3 times 8, this is going to give me 24, and then a unit is square feet. All right, now let's go to D. Okay, and for D, if you look at this, this is where it gets a little bit tricky now. I can't use 8 because the 8 for length goes past my D into C, so that's not enough. And then I can't use 3 because 3 stops where my D begins, but I can figure it out by subtracting the 2. So if I take the 8 feet and subtract it from the 3 feet, that will tell me exactly how long D is. So this will give me 5 feet. So that means the length of this one is 5 feet. And to double check to make sure this is right, if I add 3 plus that 5, this gives me a total of 8 feet, which is how long the entire thing is. Okay? So that means the length for D is 5 feet times the width, which is 3 feet. Okay? And when I multiply 5 times 3, this is 15. And then square feet. So now we have the areas of both our smaller rectangles, C and D. I'm going to put it back together to get the total area of the whole shape. So I'm going to put total. Okay, so we have 24 square feet plus 15 square feet. Okay, add that up. 24 plus 15, this is going to be 39 square feet. Okay, and that's the total area. Notice, same answer, 39 square feet, 39 square feet. We did it differently. We took different paths, but we came to the same stop, which is 39 square feet. So that is it for homework today. I know it seems a little bit complicated, guys, but the kids are doing really, really well with this. Just keep at it. This is our last lesson on area. So we started off small with counting squares. Then we went into using multiplication to help us find area. Then we went into breaking it into 2 separate rectangles to help us find the area. So it's just been building. It's been getting a little more complicated with each lesson, and this is the last of it. So this is the most complicated that you're gonna get. So if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. Send me a message in PBIS or drop something in the comments. I'll be happy to answer your questions. give me a call at school, or send me an email. You have all my information on how to contact me in my newsletters. Make sure you're checking out the newsletters for important dates and announcements as well. That is it for today. Have a great rest of your day. And I will not see you on tomorrow, because tomorrow's review day. And then Thursday is quiz day. And then Friday is going to be another review day for our mid-unit test. So I probably won't see you until next Tuesday, because that's when we start our new lesson. So see you on next Tuesday. Have a great rest of your few days until Tuesday. Bye, guys.